Welcome to the Dan Sports Tips NFL preview show for week 7 of the NFL season. I'll be taking a look at the NFL games this week and the college football games as well for the weekend of the 22nd of October. If you haven't watched the show before, so I'll run through the NFL games, provide some tips where I see betting value. I've put my ratings together that I use every week, and I'll list the plays for college that they've thrown up as well. I will apologise because I prepared for the show yesterday, so all the lines and prices that I've got, I took yesterday when I put the bets on. And obviously they might have changed a little bit between then and now, but that is what it is, unfortunately. I'm going to dive straight in with my favourite play in the NFL this week, and that is the San Diego Chargers against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons' offense has been outstanding, while the Chargers' defensive unit has struggled this year, and looks like they could do so again, especially with Verrett missing at cornerback, leaving Hayward, who is a solid corner, as the main cover option for Julio Jones. However, against the Panthers, the Falcons proved that they could win without using Julio, as they relied on Mohamed Sanu and Jacob Tamme in the passing game. The dual backfield threat of Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman. The Falcons should put some points up at home in this game. The Falcons' defense is still not good, though. With Phillip Rivers at quarterback, the Chargers have been vastly more competitive than their record suggests. They come into this game off of a long week, having played Thursday when beating Denver. The Falcons played on the road at Seattle on Sunday, ultimately losing a tough close game, as their brutal stretch of Carolina, Denver on the road and Seattle on the road in 3 consecutive weeks came to a close. The Chargers have played 6 games this year, only 2 of them have been decided by more than 6 points. Those are the pair of victories that San Diego have got on their record. Their 4 losses have been by a combined 14 points this year. This is a team that does not get blown out. I see no reason why that will start here. Give me the San Diego Chargers plus 6.5 points against the Atlanta Falcons. Washington and Detroit. Neither team in this game boasts much of a defense. The Redskins are serviceable against the pass with a decent cornerback combo and awful against the run, while Detroit are just plain awful. Theo Riddick should have some success for Detroit moving the ball on the ground and with passes out of the backfield, but both teams are capable of moving the ball through the air. They have the weapons to do so. The game looks like a high-scoring affair. I'm not at all intimidated by a high line of 50 points. I do think it will go over that number, and I'm going to play Washington at Detroit to go over 50 total points in the game. Baltimore against the New York Jets. I don't like to overreact to a team's most recent performance, but I've been strongly against the New York Jets from this season's perspective the whole year, as anybody that watched my pre-season previews will know. I can't possibly see Geno Smith as an upgrade over Fitzpatrick at quarterback, and with a very good Ravens running defense coming to town, the struggles of the Jets' ground game look set to continue, placing extra emphasis on the erratic Geno to get the job done through the air. Is anyone actually betting Geno Smith giving points as a favourite here? Flacco has not exactly been outstanding this year, but we do know what he's capable of, even if we haven't seen it for a few years now. The Ravens will likely also struggle moving the rock on the ground because the Jets do have a decent rush defense, but Baltimore, like the Jets, do have a decent crop of pass catching options. I just trust Flacco to get the ball to them more than I do Geno Smith, and as such I'm happy to take the Baltimore Ravens as an underdog +2 in this game. Oakland at Jacksonville. These are 2 bad pass defences, 2 quarterbacks who like to throw the ball around the field. Oakland find themselves on the East Coast for an early game for the 4th time this season, which seems very harsh by the schedule makers. Jacksonville has started slowly in most of their games. The same can be expected of the Raiders cross country for an early kickoff, and that is the main worry for the bet. If it's 7-3 or something at the end of the first, that is going to put pressure on and over for the rest of the game. That being said, at 47 points, the line just seems too low. I'm surprised it's under 50. In all honesty, I'm happy to go with my instinct and play the over in this game as well. Oakland at Jacksonville, I will play over 47 total points in that game. Cleveland and Cincinnati is another line that looks just a little bit too low for me in the Battle of Ohio. The 2 teams rank in the bottom 7 for total defence as per DVOA. Cleveland's offence is better than you think, while the Bengals have scuffled at times on offence this year. They shouldn't have any problems against the Browns. These teams do have a history of playing shootouts as well down the years. I think we could see another one here at 45.5. I'll take the over, as I think it's probably about 5 points off, similar to the Oakland-Jacksonville game. I think it should be closer to 50 than 45.5 for sure. So give me the over 45.5 in Cleveland at Cincinnati. And I'll finish up with Sunday Night Football, Seattle and Arizona. I think the struggles that Carson Palmer appears to be having throwing the deep ball could cost the Cardinals against this Seahawks defence. David Johnson, of course, will cause problems even for the best defensive units in the league, but I feel sure that we will see the Seahawks focus on stopping the run, forcing Palmer to throw the deep ball, so long as their excellent linebackers can play coverage underneath as well as normal. The Cardinals, of course, boast an excellent pass defence themselves, but if Wilson is healthy enough to use his legs along with Christian Michael, then that's where the Seahawks have the real edge in this matchup. While it looks low scoring, I do think the Hawks can pretty much put the division to bed here with a win on the road against the Redbirds, and I'll happily take Seattle in the rare spot where they're getting points. Seattle +2 to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Looking at college this weekend, as I say, I have put together the ratings that I come up with, and I'm just going to run through the plays that they've thrown up. NC State and Louisville, 19.5. The number is too high according to my numbers. I'll put 2 points on NC State plus 19.5 to beat Louisville. More so though, I'm going to play 4 points on under 65 total points in that game. TCU against West Virginia, I'm going to stick a point on TCU money line because I do think there is a chance of an upset in the game, but again, more so as the total I'm playing in this game. I'm having 3 points on under 65.5 total points in TCU and West Virginia. The big SEC game this week, Texas A&M and Alabama. This is my biggest play of the week. 6 points, Texas A&M plus 18 to beat Alabama. That again, I don't like laying more than two touchdowns really with Alabama, though they've proved me wrong thus far when I've played a dog against them this year. And this does have a little chance, I think, of an upset as well. So I will sling a point on Texas A&M money line to beat the Crimson Tide, and I think the game's going to go over as well. So 5 points on over 58.5 points in Texas A&M and Alabama. Arkansas and Auburn. 55.5 points is the number on the total in this. That's my numbers say that's high. So 2 points on Arkansas v Auburn to go under 55.5 total points. Utah plus 7 to beat UCLA. Will have 4 points on that, and in the same game we'll 2 points on under 46.5 total points. Ohio State, Penn State. This one makes me a little bit nervous. Obviously, Penn State under the lights hosting the team that arguably, I think, probably from my perspective, looks to be the best team in college football at the moment, Ohio State. However, I'm going to take Ohio State, giving the points almost 3 touchdowns. 2 points on Ohio State, minus 19.5 to beat Penn State. LSU, Ole Miss, the return of Leonard Fournette. Give me LSU, giving minus 6.5 to Ole Miss in this game, and I will play under 60.5 total points in the game as well. Oklahoma giving 14 to Texas Tech. I will sling a point at Oklahoma, giving the 2 touchdowns to Texas Tech in this game, but the main bet on the game is under 85.5 total points on a line that looks very high. One of my favourite plays this week is East Carolina against Cincinnati. 2 points on East Carolina plus 2 to beat Cincinnati, who look done to me, and I'll also put 2 points on East Carolina money line. I'm going to go back with my Northwestern Wildcats. 3 points on them, minus 2.5 points against Indiana. Kent State to beat Ohio. 2 points on that with money line, which actually was thrown up as better value than the 1 point that I'm going to have on Kent State plus 3.5 to beat Ohio. Anyone who has watched the show for a long time will know that I've been out to get Wisconsin this year. If you can't beat them, join them. The numbers this week say 3 points Wisconsin, minus 3.5 to beat Iowa is a bet. So, but I think that's the first time this year we're actually on the Badgers. Houston minus 21 against SMU. Wondered if Houston might collapse last week. They won the game, so I'm happy to roll with them against the Mustangs this week. 3 points Houston, minus 21. Kansas against Oklahoma State. 24 points is an awful lot. Kansas is certainly higher than my number suggests it should be. So 3 points on Kansas plus 24 to beat OK State. Navy had the week off last week, gave them an extra week to prepare for Memphis, and they're a dog and they're at home. So 3 points Navy plus 2.5 to beat Memphis, and I'm going to have 2 points money line on them as a dog to win outright on them as well. 1 point Arizona State plus 7 to beat Washington State on the handicap, and I'm going to have a point on the money line as well. Arizona State pretty much laid a deuce last week when we were on them, but the main bet in this game will be over 64 total points because the game's got shootout written all over it. I'll throw a point at Stanford minus 2 to beat Colorado, but the main bet in that game will be 3 points on under 49.5 in the game. And Nebraska, who are, I think, a product of schedule rather than quality. However, they get another easy game this week, giving 24 points to Purdue. I think they'll cover that as well. I'll play 3 points on Nebraska, minus 24 to beat the Boilermakers. The ACCA of the week this week, we've obviously caught one of these. We are in profit on them no matter what happens this season. The 2-point ACCA will be Wisconsin minus 3.5, Alabama, Texas A&M to go over 58.5 points, Houston minus 21, Nebraska minus 24, and East Carolina plus 2. That plays odds of just over 24-1. The returns for that on 2 points will be 50.70 points. Let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen in both the NFL this week and the college football. Don't forget to like the video. Please do subscribe to my channel. Give me a follow on Twitter at dansports.tips. Best of luck if you're having a play, and I'll see you next week.